Alright, good morning. From anywhere you're watching us today, this is Digital Week 2.0, and this is the second day of Digital Week 2.0. And so today we are going to be talking or discussing an introduction to networking, right? So we want to see in a broad, in a lean perspective, what is networking. And since we know that this is just like an introduction or an introduction to networking, we want to cover some little basic on how you start on your journey as a network engineer, right? Though this course or this section may not be sufficient for you to practice in the big scale or the big time engineering skill as a network engineer, but it will actually help you navigate your path to becoming a network engineer. So, first of all, let's see the objectives that we have today. So, we want to see least advantages of network computing relative to standalone computing, identify elements of a network, describe several specific uses of a network, distinguish between client server and peer-to-peer networks. Right? So, these are what we'll cover today. So, network and standalone computers. Sorry. See, network and standalone computers. So, network, as we said, network is a group of computers, right? And other devices connected by some type of transmission medium, right? So, network is a group of computers and other devices connected by some type of transmission medium. Now, those transmission media can either be physical or it can be virtual. Right? So when I say transmission media, it's not limited to be just physical media. Right? So another point to say, network enable users to share devices and data collectively called a network resource. Right? So network enable users to what? Share devices and data collectively, which is called a network resources. So when you are sharing devices, when you are sharing resources, you are sharing data, you are sharing files. What we are doing in the network term is called sharing of resources. Alright? So we see standalone computer now. We say uses program and data only from its local disk and it's not connected to a network. Right? This is in the case when you see your 127.0.0.1, which is a local host, or you can see a local host port running at what 88. Alright? So when the computer is not connected to the networks of computer or to the internet per se, because the internet is the interconnections of computers on the over a network. So right, so when the computer is standalone, it's not connected to other computers. It is what a standalone computer. And if you are sharing resources or there is a back and forth communication of resources, either via a database or via any resource, it is what a local host resource sharing. Alright? So that's for standalone computer. So we'll go further and see how it boils down. Now, communication before network. A method of sharing data by copying it to a disk and carrying the disk from what? Computer to computer. This was the kind of way we share data before. You can see your diskette. Some of you who were there in the advent of diskette, those years of Windows 2000 and Windows 98, Windows Millennium, you'll be very familiar with what? Your diskette. So that is one of the ways we share data. And then we left diskette, we came to what? Disk drive, right? The disk drive, that is your compact disk drive, what you call CD, your CD drive, right? So we left that era also, and we came to what we call what? The pen drive. And so most of you know is that your flash drive, right? So but it's also a pen drive. So now we left that era, or in between that era, we came into another era called the networks, which is the connections of computers to share resources over a network. Alright, so let's see how it boils down. Now, local and remote computers. Alright? So, what's a local computer? Like I said, the local computer can also mean what? Your local host. And the local host can also mean your workstation when we talk about computer networking in the real sense. Alright, so local computer is a computer on which what the user is working. The local computer is a computer on which the user is working. Alright, so that computer now can be a workstation, the computer can be what? A server. Alright, so we are going to go to where it talks about server. So you understand what actually is server. Alright, so now we also have remote computer. Alright, so computer that uses that user controls or works via network connection. Those are what? Remote computer. Alright, so if I said a remote user, what will I mean when I say remote user? From a remote computer, you should know what a remote user is. So that user might not be what? Present. The user is not physical, but it's using a resource virtually. Alright? So that user is called a remote user. And the system in which it's using is called what? A remote computer. Alright? So that's the difference between a local computer and a computer on the internet. So this remote computer now can be seen as what? A computer or resource on the internet. Alright, so this in cloud computing of late, it's what we call infrastructural services. So infrastructural services are what they fall under this remote computer. So I might have this computer in this system, alright, and I want to play a game, but this capacity of my system cannot be enough to play that game. I can log on to the internet and go for cloud services, and then I will get a virtual computer there that the graphics is enough to play that game. And that's what we call infrastructure service. And all those fall on what? Remote computer, because you are not present wherever that system is using the system. You are only using the system what? Via a network. And that is why it's called a remote computer. Alright, so let's say I boils down. So we have types of network, alright? So I know some of you might be conversant with local area network now, alright? Metropolitan area network, wide area network, we have the intranet and we have the internet. There are so many types of what network. The local area network, we are going to see how those kind of networks concerns us, or those kind of technology concerns us. Now, local area network means say what? A network of computers and other devices confined to relatively small space. Right? Also, if we have computers that are what confined in relative small place, it can be this room, alright? It can be between this office and the next office, and the next office and the next office. So those are referred as what local area network. And why local area network? Now, the basic of connection is to want to share resources. So either local area network, wide area network, metropolitan area network, personal area network, and whatsoever area network you have, the basic of them or the reason why those networks are there is to share resources. Now we have, we say LANs involving many computers are usually server based. Right? So LANs, that is local area network, involving many computers are what usually server based. On a server based network, special computers and server process data for what? And facilitate communication between other computers on the network, right? And all those other computers on the network are called clients. Now, what is a server? So this is what, if you look at this, it's known as what? On a server-based network, special computers known as server process data. So the server is a machine that processes data for and facilitates communication between computers and the network. Alright? So the server is what? A computer that processes data and facilitates communication between what? Between the computer, other computers and the network stream. Alright? So that is the server. Now those computers that are connected to the server, that's what they are asking for resources. Because basically what is done in network or network in this sense is that what? Request and response. Request and response. Those clients are there to what? Request for the resource. The request for the resource, the server checks if that resources is what? Available. And if the resources are available, what? It's a response. Alright? And now that boils down to what we call the OSI model, the Open System Interconnectivity model. I don't know if we have time enough to go to the OSI model. So let's see. Now you can see this diagram, you can see a simple diagram of a LAN network. Alright, so you can see computers connected. Alright, you can see this is what the backbone, right? Because this is a building, this system has one building and this system has another building. So for these two buildings because we have local area network here, this is local area network, the local area network, the local area network, or sub-local area network, sub-local area network, right? And they also have sub-area network. For these two buildings now, or let's say these four buildings, to share resources, right? So we need the implementation of what we call the network backbone. Right? That network backbone is just, as you can see it here, it can be what? A hub, can be whatsoever it is. It's just enable this system to be able to communicate with this system, to be able to communicate with this system, communicate with this system. Alright, we are the network backbone. So that if I'm here and I'm asking for a resource, alright, I'm here and asking for a resource on the server. Let's say the server is here. Alright, so the system will route what my request down to this place where I can access the server. Alright, so now you can see here, you see this is single building and this B means multiple building over a local area network. So those multiple building, for them to be able to share the same resource, we have to implement what we call a network backbone. Alright, so MANs and WANs. MANs, metropolitan area network, and what? Wide area networks for WANs. So metropolitan area network MAN, network connecting clients and servers in multiple buildings within limited geographical area. So most of you, when you want to go to Abuja, I don't know if this is also Abuja, right? So when you want to go inside, you say, I'm going to town, alright? So, but the English word for it is what? The metropolis. I'm going to the metropolis, and that is where the word metropolitan was coined from. So, metropolitan area network, that is what? The network connecting client and server in multiple buildings within a limited geographical area. Alright? So, that geographical area can be what? Just like you have your Use, it can be what? Just like you have your Buhari down, just like you have what? Your Nyanya. So the network that is what? Concerned in connecting computers together to share resources over that kind of geographical location is called the metropolitan network, right? So wide area network one, network that spans large distance and connects two or more lands. Now, take note, this is wide area network. It spans large distance and connects two or more lands, not two or more computers now. Two or more lands, right? Two or more lands. If you go back, this is a LAN. So you connect, this is a LAN network. Two or more lands is a what? A wide area network. So we can see the implementation that goes on here is what? A wide area network. Implementation that goes on here, like you can see is what? A wide area network. Alright? So network that spans large distance and connects two or more local area networks together is called the LAN. Now the internet is an example of a very intricate and extensive one that spans the globe. The internet. The internet is the interconnections of computer over a network to share resources. The internet is the interconnections of computer over a network to share what? Resources. Now they say the internet is an example of a very intricate and extensive one that spans the globe. So if you want to give a very good explicit example of what a wide area network, you can say the internet. Alright? You can say the internet. So some of you say, I want to surf the internet. I want to surf online to get information, to get resources. So what we are doing is that what we are communicating with the computers. Right? Have you ever seen a server? You've seen a server when you go back and you can just do some little research on the server, you see how big the server is, especially Amazon. Amazon Web Services, you see your server is very big. So what you do over the internet is the what we are surfing or we are crawling. There's what we call web crawlers. And web crawlers are those applications that are installed on the internet to what? Look for keywords, and identifiers online. And those web we call the request and response also. Alright, so I might be looking, I'll go online now. I want to look for, let's say, the University of Abuja. Alright, I go online to look for University of Abuja. What happens is that I send a request. Alright, so when the message goes, it's seeking for a response. So it goes to what? Computers on the server. Because it's not just one computer we have on the server. Those computers are interconnected together. Those servers on the server machine are interconnected together. So if I come to the request may come to the first server machine. All these things happens in space of seconds. And if that response cannot be delivered from the first server machine, it goes to the next server machine. So you can see that we are still establishing what, even on the server machines, we are still establishing what? Network, right? So this is a very good graphical representation of what? A metropolitan area network, alright? So we can see public city network here, and then all these network, this might be networks in the building, right? This might be networks in the building, networks in different building and different location. They are connected to what? A public city network. So Abuja now, like in Edo State presently, there are some locations to go to in Edo State presently that have what we call wireless fidelity, Wi-Fi. So the meaning of Wi-Fi is what? Wireless fidelity. So there are some places you go that what, and in that case, some organizations, let's say startup organizations, that's tech startup organizations or production startup organizations, they can what? Leverage on that network. And why are they leveraging on the network? Want to get resources, to get information on the internet that will facilitate their work. Alright, so this is a public city network, and this can be what? In any location, in any place. It can be a town, it can be a city, it can be a locality. Alright. So this is a very good graphical representation of what? How a wide area network is being implemented. Alright, so this is a router, this is a router, this is a router. Alright, so this is what the local area network. Alright, so this is the router now. This is the file server. This is a file server. Alright, so which means there are a lot of files inside this server. That is what we call, that's why we call this a file server. Alright, so the server, a client now can send request. Okay, I'm looking for what? University of Abuja, like I said earlier. Right? So this request now we route through this network. It's either coming to this place or coming to this place. So whoever server has information or has resources about University of Abuja, why? We now want to deliver the response to this client. Alright? So this is router now. You can see router used to work. If you go to where a network is installed, for example, let's say you go to University of Abuja, for example, where they have network, where they use, you see that there is what a mass pole. And that mass pole is having a cable that comes down and enters the router. Alright? So the work of the router, function of the router is what? To distribute IP address to various clients over a network. Right? So without the router now, which means these clients will not be able to want to access information or surf the internet or surf files on this file server. Alright, so there's what we call what? A IP pool on the router. So you create as a network engineer, it is your duty to what? To create the pool. But there are smart routers these days. Those routers do not necessarily need you to configure them to allocate IP address and subnet max to the client in the system. What they do is that as soon as they insert your RJ45 plug and then to your switch, the switch or the router is very smart enough to distribute IP address to various clients on the system. Alright. So types of network model, alright. So we have peer-to-peer network model. So if I try to send a file to you via Bluetooth now, I try to send a file to you via what? There's a very old technology that we've forgotten about, infrared. Alright. So infrared is a very good example of personal area network. Bluetooth also is a very good example of personal area network. That's what we call peer-to-peer, because I'm trying to send what information to you. We are between both of us. I carry my phone and I'm trying to send via Bluetooth an information or a resource to you as peer-to-peer network. So client to server network. Client to server network is very wide. It can be what over the internet. It can be over local area network. It can be over wide area network. Can be also over metropolitan area network. Alright. So we can see a very good example of what peer-to-peer network. Computer communicates on single segment of cable and share each other's data and devices. Alright? Computer communicates on single segment of cable and share each other's data and devices. Single segment of cable, like I said, if we are doing it via Bluetooth, then you know it's what? It's over a wireless network. There's no wire, there's no medium, there's no physical medium, alright? But if we are doing it via what? Local area network, then you have a medium. You can see the server. You can see the server here, and we can see the various clients here that are also asking for resources in the server machine. Now, they are not asking for resources in what? The same workstations. They are asking for resources in the server machine. I don't know if any of you have seen the thin client computer. There's a computer that is called a thin client computer. It is just as small as this one. Sorry. It's as small as what this one. So those computers don't have operating system installed inside of them. You don't have applications installed inside of them. Right? So if you want to use that system, you have to be logged onto the server that is enabling that system. So the operating system is what installed in the server. So for you to be able to make use of the thin client system, you have to what? Connect the thin client system to the server. All the applications, you'll be very surprised that if you check the configuration of a thin client system, you might just be seeing 512 megabytes of space. Or at most maybe 2 gig. Alright? In this case, it's a server. So you can see that workstations are what? Trying to send, or they are what? Asking for resources from the server machine. So now what is intranet? Alright? It is a worldwide system which has the following characteristics. Internet is a worldwide global system of interconnected computer, like I said earlier. Alright? So internet uses the standard internet protocol, which is called TCP/IP. I mentioned something about when I was talking about router. I mentioned something about what? IP address. So internet uses what we call protocols, right? Topology, architecture. But this one is what we call protocol. So internet uses standard internet protocol, that is TCP/IP. Right? So for you to be able to connect or ask for resources over, if you go now, go on Google. If you are online, go on Google now and go to type my IP address on Google. Take your phone, go on Google, type my IP address, so you see your IP address. Every phone has what? An IP address online. For you to be able to see other resources, you must have what? A protocol. And that protocol is what? The IP address. So if you type my IP address and click on the link, you will see so on the internet. 102.what? 91.92.555. What's your own? Still loading. So that's the situation where we see that we have what? Poor network. Alright? So that's the protocol for a phone. Without that protocol. Now this protocol is not static. that protocol, that IP address is not static. It's changed. So whenever you go offline, right? When you are coming back again, you discover that what your IP address has changed. What happens is that because if the protocol is to capture every human, because a single person might have 3 phones, 2 phones, and those 2 phones is using them to surf the internet, maybe at the same time. So if the IP address, IP version 4, is not that big enough to capture the billions of what people or of clients that will be surfing the internet at a particular time. So what it does is that when somebody log on the internet, it's assign an IP address to the person. Immediately you log off, but it collects the IP address and assign to another person that will be coming online to surf the internet. Alright? So immediately you are coming back online again, another IP address will be what? Assigned to you. That is how IP version 4 IP addressing system work. But there's another IP version, which is IP version 6. It's almost still under research and still under development. So when it comes, I believe that will be very large enough to capture many protocols for IP addressing situations. So IP address what? So every computer on the internet is identified by a unique IP address, like I said. Alright? And then we say IP address is a unique set of numbers, such as what? 110.22.33.114, which identifies a computer's location. So without this IP address, what? The computer location cannot be. So sometimes that's why you see when somebody commits fraud, they say they dictate the person to his house. And went to the house to catch the person. And one that did this. How did they get the location? To the IP address. So the IP address has the capacity or the power to stop or to see the person's location. So some fraudsters are very, very naive. Alright? It is even more safe protecting yourself on the internet than committing crime on the internet. Right? So one of the issues we have is that they want to commit crime over the internet, but they have little knowledge on how to protect themselves on the internet. That domain name server is used to give name to IP address so that user can locate a computer by name. A domain name server is what used to give the name to IP address. So if you go online now, if you check the IP address of Google, www.google.com, if you check the IP address, you discover that you see something like this will come out. But the reason why something like this is not going to come out for layman is because they want to understand. And that is where the domain name server comes in to give what, to attach a name to this IP address. It's just like in computer programming, you declare a variable, alright? And then you assign the value to the variable, maybe 5. Let's say my number is equals to 5. Alright, so anywhere you are calling my number, it means you are calling what? 5. The same thing with IP addressing system. So a domain name is what? Assigned to the IP address. So that whenever you access the domain name, you are also accessing the IP address. But if you are very smart, you can what? Be accessing those sites via the IP address directly. Alright. So internet is what accessible to every user all over the world, provided you have a system that obeys what we call the internet protocol. Alright? So the internet is a system in which multiple pieces are connected to each other. You understand what I call PC, right? Personal what? Personal computer. So the internet is a system in which multiple pieces are connected to each other to share resources. Any explanation is needed there? When you connect multiple pieces together to share resources. Now, pieces in internet are not available to the world outside the internet. So if you go to superstores, let me give you an example. If you go to some supermarket, alright, so they have computers, right, that they use for their sale. But what they are using there is what? An intranet, because those computers are not connected to computers outside that building. Except in a case whereby they want to also be using the system to browse. Then what you now do is what we call dynamic IP address. So that whenever they go online, the IP address will be issued to them dynamically. Then whenever they come back offline, they must start using the IP address that was imputed by this network engineer to share resources over that network or computer in the building there. Alright? So usually each company or organization has their own intranet network. Like I said earlier, a superstore where they said, do you understand what they call a superstore? In Abuja, where is a superstore? Are people going to the superstore in Abuja? Yeah.
Sure, I think next.
Next, ShopRite. Right? Those are super stores, supermarket. Right? So usually each company or organization has their own intranet network and members as employee of that company can access the computers in their intranet. Alright? They have their own intranet. So members and what employees can access the computer. That is to say what there is a workstation where resources or files are saved. And then I want to go and check now. Maybe you are you are you are being audited as a staff of a company, and they maybe this face, this maybe the organization is very big, and they are trying to identify if this person is actually a staff in this place. When was this person employed? And so the company has what the database or data file system of all the staff in that organization. So what they need to do is what go to the computer to what query and see they ask you what's your ID. Ask you what's your ID number. They go use your ID number to query. And then if you are a staff duly employed in the organization, your information will come. Right? So that's what an example of what? An intranet. Alright? So an example of an intranet. So each computer in internet is also identified by an IP address, which is unique among the computers in that intranet. So we can form an intranet here. I can do 192.168.2.1, 192.168.2.2, 192.168.2.3, 192.168.2.4, and just like that. Right? So we can share information over the internet. So because it's an intranet, it doesn't displace the fact that it needs to work with the protocol. And the protocol in this sense is what IP address system. Alright? So we can see intranet a very good graphical representation of an intranet. So it explains itself when you look at it. Alright? So we have similarities between internet and what? Intranet. Intranet uses the internet protocol such as TCP/IP and what FTP. You know, as a network person or as a network engineer or network technician, there are so many what abbreviations for you to know. So many of them, plenty for you to know. So this is what transfer control protocol /what
IP address.
what is it?
Protocol.
Then this one we have what FTP is what
File transfer protocol.
right. So intranet sites are accessible via web browser in similar ways as websites in internet, but only members of intranet network, because what files will be accessed, resources will be shared, request and response must be made. Like I said earlier, that's what a staff is being audited. When was the staff duly employed in this organization? And they collect his ID number or whatever this thing, passphrase they did. Enter the system, query the system, and if that staff was duly employed and is a member of the organization, the records, all these records will come out. Alright? So, but that internet system also makes use of what? The internet people, because every computer must be assigned an IP address to sort the information on the server system. Alright? So intranet now own instant messengers can be used as similar to Yahoo Messenger, right? GitHub over the internet. Alright. So over this space now we can develop an application now. Alright. And for us to, whereas internet is specific to few personal computers. Internet has wider access and provides a better access to website to large population, whereas internet is restricted. You have a question? Internet has wider access and provide a better access to websites to large population, whereas internet is restricted. Internet is not as safe as intranet. Why is internet not as safe as intranet? One of the reasons why internet is not as safe as intranet is because over an intranet, people are identified. I cannot let you come to my own intranet network now if I don't know you. You understand? So people, persons are being identified. They are known. But over the internet, you don't know. Just like sometimes you just go, some of those people that does what? Online dating. You just go over Facebook and then you meet somebody and then something kickstarts. Alright? So, but you don't know the person. But over the internet, I can say this is how the internet works. Okay? So internet, you see internet is not as safe as what? The internet. So that's one of the reasons why internet is not as safe as the internet. So I don't know if you have any question to ask.
Do you also think that like the reason why internet is not as safe as the internet is also because of the large population of people that are using it, like people that are using the internet?
Yes. That's what I was trying to establish that what the internet, people are known, are identified, but the internet, you don't know anybody. The internet is what? The interconnections of computer over a network to share what? Resources. It is wide, it is very wide. You can be in Nigeria chatting with somebody in what? Argentina. Right? You don't know the person. You don't know where the person is coming from. Right? So that's why one of the reasons why, and that is because of internet. That is what is enabling fraudsters, internet fraudsters, scammers. Over the internet, you cannot come and scam me. If you do small thing, I come and jack you and say, why you want to run the street, right? So that's over the internet. But over the internet now, it's not. And there are some notions I like to clarify. There's nothing that's actually safe on the internet. Nothing is safe on the internet. Don't let anybody tell you whether a white hat hacker or whatsoever come to tell you that I have site and protected, I've saved it, it's safe, secure. No, there's nothing safe on the internet. That's why when you are trying to do some registration, they say what? Not less than 8 characters. A mixture of what? Characters and letters. Characters and letters and alphabet and numbers. A mixture. The reason is because that system you are trying to put is not going to actually make that your information safe for life. The reason is to make it difficult for hackers, for scammers, alright? So that in a situation where they are trying to hack your system or when they are trying to compromise your system, you can get an alert because it's a bit difficult for them to compromise. You can get an alert, and then in between you can what? Establish a block. Alright? Just like there are several times my Facebook has come under attack. But before they are trying, but before they actually execute their intention, I have actually secured my Facebook back. Because why? My passphrase is a mixture of characters, string literals, numbers, and letters. Alright, so that's it. Nothing is actually safe on the internet. So you just do well to protect yourself on the internet. There are some kind of messages that you be sent maybe on Facebook. Somebody might send you, you just play a game on Facebook. They say to continue register with your Facebook account. Those are what? Scammers. Sometimes they send you a message. They ask you to open the message. Once you open this message, what? They are what? Keyloggers that are installed in those systems. What it does is it keeps record of all your password, both your bank application password, your social media password, everything. It collects them and sends it to them. So as long as that system, that application all that software is inside, that firmware is inside your system, it keeps what? Getting a keylogger information of all what you're doing over that device. Alright, so that's why it's very good to protect yourself. You don't go online to start, in fact, even friends on social media, you don't go online to start accepting different kinds of people you don't know on social media, or sending friend requests or accepting friend requests for people you don't know on social media, because you don't know who is actually going to see you as a victim, as a soft target tomorrow. Alright. So there are different ways. Maybe next session we are going to have going to actually expose some ways in which you can actually protect yourself over the internet. Alright? And then maybe we'll learn one or two little skills. Because for you to be able to stop the activities of a hacker, it means you yourself are a hacker. And that is why we have white hat hacker, black hat hacker, and the other, what's the other one again? Right?
Grey hair. Grey
So,
hat, grey.
if there's no question, we have